Okay, let's unpack this. I want you to just, for a second, imagine a survival scenario. You are stranded on a deserted island. Resources are scarce. You're sleeping in a tent, on hard ground. In a normal situation, your brain is screaming, build a fire, find water, don't get eaten.
Right, primal instincts.
Exactly. But in the scenario we're discussing today, your brain has a very different directive. It's more like, look hot, act cool, and get on a helicopter.
It's such a fascinating juxtaposition, isn't it? I mean, it's basically Lord of the Flies, but, everyone has veneers and six-pack abs, and the prize isn't rescue. It's a date in a luxury suite.
It's a date. We are diving deep into the absolute chaos that is the first 2 episodes of Singles Inferno. If you haven't seen it, the whole premise is that singles are trapped in Inferno, the island, and can only escape to Paradise, the hotel, if they match up.
It highlights the social friction, the awkwardness, and the almost delusional levels of confidence on display.
Oh, the confidence. We have to start there. The vibe of these first 2 episodes is just defined by one word: audacity. The sheer unearned confidence of this cast when they first walk down that hill is staggering.
It's a textbook example of the halo effect colliding with, well, the Dunning-Kruger effect. These are people who are used to being the most attractive person in a given room, so they just assume you'll dominate the social hierarchy instantly.
Let's just look at the roster. We've got Sunil. He walks in, and our source describes him perfectly. He looks like a mix of every K-drama villain you've ever seen, but with even shinier veneers. He sits down, and his opening statement to the camera is, quote, "I hate losing."
Okay, that's a standard competitive line.
But then he follows it up with, "I have never been turned down by a girl. Never."
That is a wildly dangerous thing to say on camera. I mean, statistically, it's just improbable, but psychologically, it sets him up for a massive fall.
How so?
Well, if your entire self-worth is built on this narrative that you are irresistible, the first moment of rejection isn't just a no, it's a full-on identity crisis.
And he wasn't alone in this whole top-of-the-world energy. You have Heen, who just breezes in and says, "I always get what I want and I love attention."
They're treating this island like it's their personal kingdom.
But my personal favorite entrance has to be Jin.
Jin, the enigma.
Mr. Hands behind his back. I mean, everyone else is doing this model walk, trying to look cool, navigating this gravel path. Jin is just strolling down a steep, rugged hill like a grandpa inspecting a construction site.
With his hands firmly clasped behind his back, yeah. Nodding at the tree.
Looking at the sky. It was so weird.
It was certainly a choice. During the initial photo shoot where everyone's trying these sexy poses, Jin went for something much more interpretive.
It was poetic. It was strange. And then you have MG, the queen of track and field. She's an athlete. She's competitive. She just expects to win because that's what she does. So you have all this swagger. And then they see the living conditions.
And this is where the reality check just hits them like a truck.
Yeah.
It's not a villa. It's wooden steps, twigs, and tents. And the food situation.
At a buffet. Which brings us to the carrots and tuna incident. This scene is so important because it's the first time we see their social skills tested outside of just, looking good. They have to make lunch.
Right. And in a communal living situation, contribution is currency. If you help, you bond. If you just stand around, you alienate people.
And Jin. He is the CEO of Standing Around. He's just pacing in the kitchen area. He's observing the tuna cans.
He's contemplating the carrot.
But he is not picking up a knife. It gets so awkward that someone finally snaps at him. They're like, "Hey, are you going to help? Do you want carrots or tuna?" And his response is legendary. He claims he's allergic to carrots.
Which, if true, fine. But the source points out the absurdity, right? Production didn't check for allergies before stranding you on an island. It feels convenient.
It reads less like anaphylaxis and more like, I don't want to peel vegetables.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you'd think that lack of social awareness would bite him. But then we get to the first vote.
Yes, the twist. You don't pick who you want to date. You send anonymous notes to the person you like the most. It's a popularity contest.
And this is where Sunil's "I've never been rejected" narrative just completely collapses.
He gets 0 votes. 0. The camera just lingers on his face, and he looks like he's trying to solve a quantum physics equation. He cannot compute it.
It's a slice of humble pie, served immediately. Meanwhile, despite the whole carrot thing, Jin actually receives the most votes among the men.
Which is shocking. Why do you think that happened?
I think, initially, silence can be mistaken for mystery. The cocky guys like Sunil, they put all their cards on the table way too fast. Jin was weird, yes, but he was quiet. So the women probably projected a kind of depth onto him that wasn't necessarily there yet.
That makes sense. So the winners are MG and Jin. They get to pick partners for Paradise. NG picks Sunung Min, the quiet guy, who she thinks is her ideal type. And Jin picks Yajin, the kind, soft-spoken girl. And folks, this is where we transition from Inferno to Paradise Lost.
These days, oh man, I've analyzed a lot of social dynamics, and these were just physically painful to hear about.
Let's start with MG and Sunung Min. They get on the helicopter, they get to the hotel, they sit down for fine dining, and MG is bringing the energy. She is bubbly, she's leading the conversation, she's flirting, she's doing everything right.
And Sunung Min is giving her absolutely nothing. The source describes him as a brick wall, and honestly, that's an insult to bricks.
It's so dry. She'll ask him a question, trying to find a spark, and he just answers with, like, objective facts. Yes, no, I am an optician.
And the reveal that they're both 29, born in 96, that should have been a bonding moment, but he treats it like data entry.
It's a total mismatch. MG said she chose him because he fit her visual ideal type. She likes guys who look cute and innocent, but she learned the hard way that cute and innocent can also mean boring and passive.
She even says later that she knocks until the door opens. She's aggressive. But with Sunung Min, there's no door. It's just a smooth surface. There's no way in.
But if MG's date was boring, Jin in Yajin's date was a catastrophe, a tragedy in 3 acts.
This was the peak of awkwardness for the episode. So they sit down for the age reveal. Huge in Korean culture, right? It dictates how you speak to each other. Jin reveals he's 27. He's a professional dancer, an idol backup dancer.
Which explains the interpretive poses. It all makes sense now.
It does, but then Yajin reveals she's 29, a freelance announcer, and the moment she hears he's younger.
The source says the life drained out of her face.
It was instantaneous. She just shuts down. She's already said she does not like younger men. And Jin, trying to save this sinking ship, he's like, oh, a 2-year gap is perfect.
And she just stares at him. It's visceral. And then, oh, it gets worse. Jin decides to pivot to comedy. He puts on a face mask and makes a joke.
That was the fatal blow. That was the ick setting in real time. You have to understand her mindset. She lays it out. She says relationships start seeing each other 6 days a week, then 4, then 2, then goodbye forever.
That is such a bleak, cynical way to view dating.
It's pragmatic. She wants stability. She wants a mature partner who is ready for something serious. Jin is playful, artistic, younger, and he's making face mask jokes. To her, he just represents a waste of time.
So while the winners are having the worst dates of their lives in luxury, the losers back at Inferno are eating canned tuna. But then episode 2 hits and the entire ecosystem just flips.
The disruptors arrive.
Enter Sun Hun. He's got the shaggy hair, the vibe. He's from New York, speaks English, and he brings a totally different energy.
Yeah, he lacks the filter that the others have. He sits down, looks around, and immediately complains, damn, there's only 2 girls here.
He's so honest, and then when a new girl appears, he literally looks up and thanks God. It's childish, but it's kind of refreshing compared to everyone else's curated image.
For sure. He's the comic relief. But his American vibe, being loud, direct, it's a double-edged sword. It makes him approachable, but as we see, it also just strips away any mystery.
But the real earthquake is the arrival of the new girl, Mina Sue.
Mina Sue, the main character, arrives.
She walks in wearing this stunning, bright yellow dress. Against the gray rocks and green trees, she looks like a beacon. It just demands attention.
That dress was a strategic masterstroke, but her attitude matched it. Her self-description is so telling. I like myself the most. She just expects all the men to fall for her. This completely destabilizes MG, who was the queen bee, by default.
You can feel the shift. She's not there to make friends, so the next day they have this resource hunt.
And this part is crucial because we see genuine chemistry start to form, and we also see some brutal, unspoken rejections.
We have to talk about Sun Hun and Mina Sue first. They get paired up, they both speak English, they switch to English immediately, and Sun Hun is just beaming. He's thinking, this is it. We are destined.
And Mina Sue shuts that down with surgical precision. She calls him her homeboy.
Homeboy. That is the kiss of death. That is worse than brother.
It's devastating. She basically tells him to chill out because he's blocking her from finding her actual man. She's using him as a comfort blanket, someone to speak English with. But there is zero romantic interest there.
Why does that English connection fail so hard here?
Because it's too comfortable.
Yeah.
In the early stages of attraction, especially on a show like this, you need tension. You need mystery. Sun Hun became a known quantity instantly. He was safe, and safe is not sexy when you're on a survival dating show.
Meanwhile, at the chicken coop, a very different vibe. Sunil, Mr. Veneers, 0 votes, is with Goon.
And this was interesting. Gyun is terrified of the chickens. Sunil is playful. He locks her in the coop for a second, teasing her. It's physical, unscripted. Unlike those stiff paradise dates, this felt like actual flirtation.
It was messy and real. They were laughing.
And speaking of messy, we have to mention Hyunj.
Oh, poor Hyun.
He's trying to get this bag of ingredients on a rope over the water, and he's just clinging to this rope.
And he just drops. Splashes right in. It's a perfect visual metaphor for the struggle of the original guys. They're trying so hard to be cool, and they're just wet and embarrassed.
So we move to the next big event. Couples dodgeball.
A classic reality TV trope. Physically enforced intimacy where the men have to protect the women. And the dynamics here tell us everything. First, Sunhan. The universe hates him today. He draws the sit-out ball.
He has to sit on the sidelines and watch Mina-soo, his homeboy, play with another guy.
And that guy is Subin, a late arrival who goes absolute beast mode. He understands the assignment. He's throwing aggressively to win her iced coffee. It's a primal display.
But look at Jin. Remember, he had the disaster date. Now he's paired with Hwang.
Yeah.
And this is where Jin redeems himself.
Yes. He shifts from weird dancer to protector. He isn't attacking. He is using his body to shield Hwang. And Hwang loves it. You can see it on her face. She feels safe. It shows that actions speak louder than, mask jokes.
Absolutely. So after the game, we get the postcard reveal. Secret admirers. And this is where the scorecard gets settled.
It is brutal for Sunhan. Despite following Mina-soo around like a puppy, he gets 0 cards.
It hurts to watch. He just sighs and says, "It's rough out there, guys." He's realizing the nice guy who speaks the language thing isn't enough.
But Mina-soo, the queen in the yellow dress,
She gets 3 cards. Sunil, Subin, and Sunhan. She's the undisputed frontrunner.
but she plays it so cool. Meanwhile, there's this tragic mix-up with Gyun. She gets a card from a left-handed guy, Hyun Woo, but she thinks it's from Sunil because of their chicken coop chemistry.
This is the danger of unspoken signals. Her brain fills in the blank with the person she wants it to be. She thinks Sunil likes her, but Sunil is actually chasing Mina-soo. It's a recipe for heartbreak.
Which brings us to the climax of episode 2, the second selection for Paradise. The power has completely shifted.
The original couples are dead in the water. MG, the former favorite, realizes the room revolves around Mina-soo now. And Mina-soo is not gracious about it. She admits she's bothered that Sunil, one of her 3 suitors, was initially interested in Minji.
She sizes MG up immediately. It's pure territorial behavior. She doesn't just want to be chosen. She wants to be the only choice.
So the women are picking. Gun picks Sunungmin, the optician, leaving Hyun in the dust.
Hwang picks Jin, confirming that the dodgeball chivalry worked. A massive turnaround for him.
And then we have Mina-soo. She holds all the cards. She has 3 options in front of her. The homeboy Sunhan, the beast mode Subin, or the intriguing one, Sunil.
Why is he the intriguing one?
Because he was the one guy who didn't immediately fall at her feet. Remember, Sunil was looking at MG initially. That makes him a conquest. He has value because another high-value woman wanted him first.
The episode ends on this huge cliffhanger. Mina-soo walks up to her choice and just says, "Hi," and that's where it cuts.
The editors of this show are cruel.
They are. The source speculates here, and I want to get your take. The source thinks Sunhan is out because he's too immature. He sounds like a kid to a 27-year-old woman.
I completely agree with that analysis. Sunhan is comfortable, but he removed all the mystery. He complained too much. He was too available. Between Subin and Sunil, I think she goes for Sunil.
Really? Why?
Because Mina-soo said, "I like myself the most." A person like that, in the colloquial sense, wants the person who reflects the best image back at them. Stealing the guy who never gets rejected and who was liked by the other queen bee, that is the ultimate trophy.
It's classic psychology. Scarcity creates value.
Exactly. Sunhan was abundant, Sunil was scarce.
So let's wrap this up. What does this deep dive into just 2 episodes tell us about human nature?
It tells us that audacity is a volatile currency. Sunil walked in saying he's never been rejected, and he got humbled instantly. But he survived it.
And then you have Mina-soo, who walked in with the same audacity, and it worked.
The difference is execution. Right. Sunil told everyone he was a winner. Mina-soo showed everyone she was the prize. She used visuals, body language, and she maintained mystery.
And we learned that being the nice guy who speaks English might just get you a one-way ticket to the friend zone.
Being a homeboy is a strategic failure on Singles Inferno. You want to be a lover boy or a bad boy, never a homeboy.
Absolutely not. So here's a thought to leave you with. In a high-stakes, pressure cooker environment like this, does audacity actually work as a strategy, or does it just make the inevitable rejection that much more humiliating? And is being the comfortable option actually a death sentence for romance when everyone is looking for a thrill?
Yeah, it really raises the fundamental question. Do we actually want a partner who feels like home, or do we want the person who makes us feel like we're winning a game?
Something to mull over until our next deep dive, where we will finally find out who received that final high. Thanks for listening. Okay, so let's unpack this. Imagine like a behavioral psychology experiment, but with much better lighting and a whole lot more bronzer.
Right.
You take a group of, ridiculously attractive singles. You strand them on a deserted island where all they have is like carrots and lukewarm water.
And sadness. Don't forget the sadness.
And sadness, yes. And then you dangle this luxury hotel suite in front of them as the prize for coupling up. It is just the perfect recipe for desperation and some really bizarre behavior.
It is the ultimate pressure cooker.
Yeah.
You're taking away all the normal social stuff,
Right.
phones, jobs, status, and you're replacing it with just raw survival instincts.
Exactly.
It forces people to show you who they really are when they don't get what they want.
And that is exactly why we are back for a deep dive into episode 3 of Singles Inferno. Today we are working off a fantastic recap. So our mission today is to unpack the power dynamics, the chaos of the Paradise Dates, and a cliffhanger that, it physically hurt me to read about it.
Well, what's so interesting about this episode is that we're finally seeing the mask slip. The polite phase is officially over. We're moving into what you might call the scarcity phase, where the fear of being left behind starts driving every single decision.
Okay, before we get to the heartbreak, and there is a lot of it, let's do a quick refresh of the cast. First up, Sunil. The consensus going in was that he's bold, confident, maybe a little arrogant.
He definitely projects high status. He carries himself like someone who's used to being the most interesting person in any room. Then you have Miji, who's sort of the down-to-earth, honest one. She's almost the audience surrogate.
Yeah, totally. Then there's Sunman, the guy who only cares about what he likes. If you fit his type, great. If not, you basically don't exist.
Which is a bold strategy in a social game, but we'll get to that.
And of course, Mina Sue, the flirt who needs everyone to be obsessed with her. But my favorite description is for Sung-hun, the New Yorker. Not because he's from New York, but because, and this is a direct quote, he talks like every guy you've ever met.
Oh, that's a devastating critique. It just implies he's running a script, he's playing the role of cool guy, but there's no specificity to it. And in a place like this, being generic is a death sentence.
It really is.
Yeah.
So let's jump into the departure. The women are picking their dates for Paradise. This is where it all happens. Mina Sue picks first, and she goes with Subin.
Which was the logical move for her.
Yep.
Subin has been making his interest incredibly clear. It's a safe, ego-boosting pick. She knows she's going to get all the attention.
Subin was just over the moon. But the real story isn't who won, it's who lost. We have Sung-hun, our New Yorker, watching this happen, metaphorically crying and throwing up.
And this is where you see that rejection sensitivity kick in. He's been trying to flirt, he's been putting himself out there, but he has been friend-zoned left and right.
Mercilessly.
Mercilessly. In his head, he's a top contender. In reality, he wasn't even on the ballot.
It's so rough. But if you think that's bad, we have to talk about Miji's choice. She picks Sunil. And this leaves the quiet, buff guy completely devastated.
This is a classic case of misconnections. Hyunwoo has been trying to talk to Miji this whole time. He's interested. But it's almost comedic. Every time they try to talk, an announcement plays or a game starts.
It's cursed timing. The universe does not want them to have a conversation.
It creates this psychological wedge. He thinks she's not interested because she's not making the effort, and she probably thinks he's passive. And the result is he gets left behind.
And that brings us to the left behind syndrome. It's not just that you didn't get a date, it's that you are stranded on Inferno while the cool kids are off in helicopters drinking champagne.
Yeah, it isolates you. It creates this trauma bond with the other rejected people, but it also lowers your social value. Being left behind creates this scent of failure that is really hard to wash off. You're the backup option now.
At least they can be sad together. But let's leave the sad people with their carrots for a minute. We need to talk about Miji and Sunil's date, because this was a vibe shift I did not see coming.
It creates a massive expectation violation, which is such a powerful trigger for attraction. When someone defies your negative expectations in a good way, it hits so much harder.
Completely. Going in, everyone thought Sunil was arrogant. He has that I'm better than you look. He's a fashion designer. He's stylish. But they get to Paradise. And what does he do? He starts doing a home inspection of the suite.
That detail is so telling. He's just wandering around, opening cupboards, playing with the appliances. He's so into the amenities, he's basically ignoring Miji.
She's trying to talk to him, and he's just like staring at the microwave dial. Ooh, look at this. But somehow it works. Bougie bitch energy.
Bougie bitch energy is a very specific but very descriptive term here. It implies this sort of high-maintenance standard that's actually refreshing because it's authentic.
Yeah.
He isn't pretending to be too cool for the luxury. He loves it.
It's the way he crosses his legs, puts on his glasses. It's just so sassy. And honestly, I love it. It breaks the tension. He's not putting on a front for her. He's just being his fabulous self.
It adds this layer of authenticity. But the biggest reveal from this date, and this is a huge detail, is his age. Sunil is only 24.
24. It apparently triggered a whole crisis for her. He's got his own brand, he's on this show, and he's basically Gen Z.
Well, and this creates a specific dynamic, because Miji is older, around 28 or 29. She said she likes cute guys. But Sunil is trying to prove he's mature, that he's been working since he was 20. He doesn't want to be the little brother.
But because she likes cute, he starts leaning into it. They're bumping shoulders in the helicopter, they're flirting. It's surprisingly wholesome. You can just see the chemistry bubbling up because they're having fun.
And this brings us to the most important comparison of the episode. You can't understand why this date works so well without looking at Miji's previous date with Sunman.
Oh, Sunman. That first date was a train wreck. It was dry, it was awkward. It was like watching paint dry if the paint was also rude to you.
Exactly. And Miji actually brings this up. She tells Sunil this date feels like her actual first time in paradise. And Sunil, showing some real emotional intelligence, he acknowledges it. He promises to make sure she can tell the difference between him and the other guy.
And he delivers. He's actively flirting. He's engaging. It proves the awkwardness wasn't just the environment, it was the person. Which leads us perfectly to the redemption arc, or maybe the villain reveal, of Sunman himself.
This is the big aha moment from the source. We cut to Sunman's date with Goon, and suddenly the man who couldn't hold a conversation is a total chatterbox.
It's a complete transformation. He's talking about family. He's making jokes. He wasn't awkward. He just wasn't interested in Miji.
That's the harsh truth the source points out.
No.
Some people can seem socially inept or like burdened by your existence just because they aren't luckily attracted to you. But when they're interested, whole different person.
It's brutal, but it's true. It's like selective introversion. He's telling Goon she's his perfect type. They're talking about having kids. He wants a daughter. Her family produces daughters. It's basically a wedding planning session.
It's the mirroring effect. When you're interested, you mirror the other person's energy. With Miji, he was a stone wall. With Goon, he's a mirror. And visually, the show even reinforces this. Sunman and Goon got this massive villa with a private pool.
Meanwhile, Sunman and Goon are swimming, holding hands, taking Polaroids. It's the definition of a successful date.
It kind of validates his strategy in a ruthless way. He saved his social battery for the person he actually wanted. It's not nice, but it is efficient.
Yeah, even if it was a bit rude. But hey, it's a game. Now let's quickly touch on the other dates. Jen and Wong.
An interesting pairing. Wong is a furniture craft designer with an art gallery.
Which prompts the source to joke about the art to STEM pipeline. But ultimately, she just gives off rich vibes. You don't run a gallery for resin flowers unless you have some backing.
It signals status. And Jen, the quirky guy, is totally smitten. He says she's his ideal type and the banter is great, which is a big contrast to his last awkward date.
It seems like everyone is finding their footing, except maybe for the sleeping arrangements with Minasu and Subin.
Right. So Subin admits he only voted for Minasu. He is locked in.
Right.
He's a 23-year-old former baseball player turned model. He has that athlete's focus.
And Minasu's a student at the University of Illinois. But the sleeping arrangement, Subin sleeps on the couch.
The gentlemanly distance. Or maybe strategic chastity. He's showing he respects her boundaries, which is a smart, long-term play.
Or as Angie put it, get your ass to the couch. But it seemed respectful. They get back to Inferno the next morning, and this is where the tension just starts to simmer.
Right, you have the haves returning to the have-nots, and everyone is immediately comparing their misery to the other's joy. And Subin is not playing it cool. He tells the guys his date was everything he wanted and more.
And this gives us the funniest visual of the entire episode. While Subin is gushing, Singhun the New Yorker, the guy who got rejected, is sitting on his bed. And he is aggressively applying chapstick.
Oh, it's a classic displacement activity.
He's just going back and forth, layering it on. The source jokes that he said his lips were his best feature, so he's stress moisturizing. It's so petty and human. I'm dying inside, but my lips will be hydrated.
It's a defense mechanism. He feels invisible, so he focuses on the one thing he can control, his lip care. Meanwhile, Minasu's behavior shifts, too. She's being incredibly positive about Miji's date with Sunil.
Suspiciously positive.
She might be overcompensating. I mean, remember, she flirted with Sunil, too. Now that he's taken, she's masking jealousy with toxic positivity.
Now that I'm so happy for you.
While smiling through gritted teeth. We've all seen it. She wants to be the center of attention, and now Sunil isn't pining for her. That's gotta sting. But all this tension just builds up to the climax, the photo shoot selection.
This is the strategic pivot. They have to pair up for a hot photo shoot. The order is decided by a draw.
And there are curveballs right away. Wong, who just had a great date with Jin, picks Hwan-woo, the buff guy. This is the option B strategy. She liked Jen, but she originally voted for Hyun-woo. She's using the game to test her initial instinct.
Jen is just crushed. You can see the light leave his eyes. Then Heen picks Subin, shooting her shot. Miji picks Sunil, cementing them. But then, it is Minasu's turn.
This is the moment. Her top choices, Subin and Sunil, are gone. She has to pick from the remaining men. And Sung-hun, the chapstick guy who's been chasing her, is standing right there.
And she blanks. She literally cannot remember their names.
It is excruciating to watch.
She's just standing there looking at these men, and her mind is empty. She has to ask who is who.
Is this a strategy? Is she pretending to forget so she doesn't have to pick Sung-hun, or is it genuine amnesia?
The consensus seems to be it was genuine. She was just that uninterested. She forgot the name of the guy who's been hovering around her for 3 episodes.
It just speaks to how invisible Sung-hun has become to her. In a social hierarchy like this, you filter out information that isn't useful to your survival or mating goals. If you're not a prospect to Minasu, you might as well be part of the scenery. You don't have a name.
It's the ultimate burn. I would pick you, but I literally don't know who you are. The look on his face. He went from Chapstick King to who are you? In seconds.
It's a cliffhanger that just perfectly encapsulates the brutality of the show. It's not just about who likes you. It's about whether you even register as a human being to them.
So what does this all mean? We've seen Sunil go from arrogant to fan favorite just by checking out a microwave. We've seen Sunman prove that effort is 100% tied to interest. And we've seen Minasu commit the ultimate social crime.
I think the key takeaway is about the transparency of paradise. In the real world, you can hide. You can text back late. You can be vague. But when you put 2 people in a room with no distractions, the difference between awkward and uninterested becomes impossible to ignore. Sunman is the perfect case study for that.
Absolutely. If he's silent, he's not shy. He's just waiting for someone else to walk in the room.
Exactly. And for Sunil and Miji, it shows that sometimes the person you think is arrogant is just waiting for the right environment to let their guard down.
Which leaves us with a thought for you to chew on. In a game like this, is it better to be honest and comfortable like Miji, or do you need to maintain that mysterious persona? And seriously, how do you forget the name of the person who is constantly trying to flirt with you? Is that a power move, or does Inferno just melt your brain?
I think we all know the answer, but it's terrifying to admit that we might do the exact same thing in her shoes if we were hungry enough.
It really is. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the chaos of Singles Inferno.
It was a pleasure dissecting the heartbreak with you.
See you next time.